A Friday in Toronto with cloud cover and cold sidewalks. A long weekend calendar that's already filling up. And trade tensions that are quietly reshaping where Canadian companies try to grow. And later in the brief, the one timeline that matters most for Canada's trade relationship with the U.S. this summer. Toronto first, and it's a straightforward winter day. Cloudy, around 0 degrees Celsius for a high, and down near -13 overnight. No rain or snow expected. If you're planning the family day and Valentine's long weekend, the city's leaning into easy, low-commitment outings. Drop-in skating is expected to be running, and the skate lending library is set to pop up at Mel Lastman Square on Monday. One small note if you've been meaning to get to the Bentway. Family Day is being marked as its final day of the season on the skate trail. And a quick sports beat before we shift up in stakes. At the Milan Cortina Olympics, Canada's men opened with a 5-0 win over Czechia. Jordan Binnington posted the shutout, and Connor McDavid had 3 assists. Canada plays Switzerland next. Turning now to the core story, and it's one that touches jobs, prices, and where Canadian businesses put their bets. In Calgary, the city's main economic development agency says U.S. deals made up less than a quarter of the international trade agreements it helped secure in 2025, down from about a third the year before, and the lowest share on record for that organization. What's behind it? According to Calgary Economic Development, tariffs tied to U.S. President Donald Trump and broader uncertainty about access to the U.S. market. The agency says it's still engaged with American partners, but it's actively pushing companies to diversify. Its phrase is essentially to make the pie bigger by selling it to more places rather than fighting for the same slice. Here's the key point. This isn't just a political talking point. It's showing up in how firms plan their next year of revenue. CED says companies it supported expanded into 21 countries across 6 continents in 2025, and it helped secure 45 international deals that it says generated $60 million in revenue, a very large year-over-year jump. The sectors mentioned are a mix of high-growth and export-friendly industries, clean energy, advanced manufacturing, agri-food, digital technologies, life sciences, and aerospace. Most of the new activity, they say, opened markets in Europe, the Middle East, Asia, Latin America, and Oceania. Why it matters now is the near-term feedback loop. If sales shift abroad, companies build capacity for those orders. CED's leadership is explicitly tying this to local hiring, more production staff, and related jobs to meet demand, though the exact pace of hiring will depend on whether these deals turn into steady, repeat business. The risk here is that diversification is not a switch you flip. New markets often mean new regulations, new logistics chains, different payment terms, and sometimes different product standards. So the upside is resilience, the cost is complexity, and this is where that later payoff comes in. The broader trade backdrop is getting noisier, not quieter. In the U.S., about 40 farm and food groups have formed a coalition to lobby for the continuation of the Canada-US-Mexico Trade Agreement, USMCA, or CUSMA in Canada, because the deal is facing uncertainty ahead of a July 1st deadline. That lobbying push is a signal that even industries that benefit from the agreement are worried it could be reopened, reshaped, or abandoned. A quick secondary thread because it intersects with travel out of Toronto. Canada has upgraded its travel advisory for Cuba, urging Canadians not to travel unless absolutely necessary and not to delay leaving. Airlines including Air Transat have curtailed flights, focusing aircraft on repatriating customers, thousands of travelers, after Cuban authorities signaled fuel shortages could make refueling difficult. Separately, a Canadian Solidarity Coalition is preparing another container shipment of aid in early March, including medical supplies and non-perishable food. Back in the GTA, a policing and public safety update. A Toronto police officer is facing a long list of charges in a York Regional Police corruption investigation, with allegations including trafficking police clothing and uniforms, and improper storage and possession issues involving a police-issued handgun. And York Regional Police are also asking for help identifying a suspect in what they describe as a fake kidnapping and ransom scam targeting a young newcomer student. Police say the youth was taken to an Airbnb in Mississauga for 2 days and later found. Now the final piece to watch, and this is your orientation for the days ahead. For trade, keep your eye on two timelines at once: near-term diversification moves by Canadian firms, and the July 1 decision point in Washington on whether the North American trade framework holds as is or shifts. If the U.S. signals major changes, more Canadian exporters will treat the U.S. as one market among many, not the default. For travel, the practical watchpoint is flight availability to and from Cuba over the next several days, and whether fuel constraints ease enough for normal schedules to resume. And for the long weekend in Toronto, the weather is stable, and the city's programming is built around outdoor skating and drop-in options. Easy to adjust if plans change. That's your Daily News Bite for Friday, February 13th, 2026.